First up, the US President and First Lady will be travelling to Uvalde, Texas in the coming days. The President will try to console the families of the young shooting victims killed at the elementary school. While speaking at the White House during the rolling out of an executive order on police reforms, the President added remarks about the Uvalde shooting, saying that he is sick and tired of what's going on.
Jill and I will be traveling to Texas in the coming days to meet with the families and let them know we have a sense, just a sense of their pain, and hopefully bring some little comfort to the community in shock, in grief, and in trauma. As a nation, I think we all must be there for them, everyone. And we must ask, when in God's name will we do what needs to be done to, if not completely stop, fundamentally change the amount of the carnage that goes on in this country? To state the obvious, and Corey and a lot of other people here, I'm sick and tired. I'm just sick and tired of what's going on and continues to go on.
School has been cancelled for the rest of the district, even though there were only 2 days left of the school year. The residents of the sleepy town of Uvalde are still trying to come to terms with what happened.
And it's just really sad that we have to go through this. I'm saddened by that. I'm angry at our government for not doing more about, gun control.
Well, our correspondent Susan Turani is joining us live from New York. Susan, more details emerging overnight about the gunman and what happened at the school during that hour-long standoff. What's the latest?
That's right. A lot of details coming in. We do know now that there were a number of red flags. The gunman was in communication with a friend on social media, even going as far as telling someone that he was going to shoot his grandmother, the children, and then elementary school children. And then on the other hand, how long it took for law enforcement to go into the school to stop the shooter as well. So those are the details that we're hearing, but most noteworthy, I think, is what's happening on Capitol Hill, and that's the huddle that happened on Capitol Hill between lawmakers, where there seems to be now a bipartisan consensus that despite the fact that there are background check rules in place, perhaps there are talks right now to have more gun control legislation in place and more background checks and more widespread background check legislation. At least a discussion has been open regarding that, although lawmakers will go on recess before really passing any kind of substantial bill. As for now, vigils will be held for these innocent lives lost. A community is continuing to heal, and there are more questions left than answers. But I think one noteworthy aspect of all of this is how to deal with those red flags. And the one aspect that perhaps may move the needle and reach a bipartisan consensus is to put more stricter red flag laws in place to see, to prevent something like this from happening in the future.
And Susan, the President has promised to go to Uvalde. Again, he's going to the scene of a mass shooting. Again, he's having to play that part of consoler-in-chief. What do you think we can expect from that trip?
Yeah, the issue with that is the President has not laid out, first of all, what day he's going to go to Uvalde, and that's a cause for concern, considering the fact that right after the Buffalo shooting, he was there immediately. So first of all, we don't have an exact date on when the President is going. Second of all, he's calling for action without saying what kind of action he hopes to really, put forth in preventing something like this. And third of all, I think, at this point, not focusing on any kind of action to keep children safe, because we're seeing so many school shootings, and focusing on punishing law enforcement and putting up legislation to see, how law enforcement will be punished, as you mentioned, on the second anniversary of George Floyd's death. That kind of raises the question on where his priorities lay. So we don't know when he's going to visit Uvalde. We don't have a date, so we can't really know, what to expect and what he's going to be talking about, and he hasn't really put forth any concrete solutions on how he wants to deal with this issue, besides repeating the jargon that enough is enough and we have to do something about it. Many are saying that perhaps, only the issue of dealing with guns, despite the fact that it's an important issue, since it's not garnering bipartisan support, maybe you should widen the net. Maybe he should focus on mental health issues. Maybe he should focus on other aspects of on why these shootings happen, but we yet to be informed on what the president's plans are and what he's planning on really doing with this tight-knit community, and I think they're waiting.
Thank you, Susan. That was Susan Tarani joining us live from New York City.